and endorsements. Saban pointed out a potential problem with the rule, telling ESPN, I don't think anybody else is making significant money, but the players that have a name are making something. Equality in the locker room is my biggest concern. Haven't heard any complaints so far. I told our players, when you play in the NFL, everybody doesn't make the same. Everybody in college has always been the same. That's not going to be the case anymore. I don't know how it's going to affect people. So, Acho, are Nick Saban's concerns over equality in the locker room valid?
They are valid, but not now. They will be valid in maybe 2 to 3 years. Nobody has yet to figure out this whole NIL marketing thing. So, like the salary cap in professional sports increases over time, this figurative salary cap in college is going to grow. Right now, businesses don't fully know how much they can get from college athletes. So you're not seeing the full influx of dollars in college athletics. But I got to keep it a buck with y'all, keep it 100 if I can. There is already inequality in the locker room. I showed up to Texas, 3-star recruit. Texas was incredible at the time. Colt McCoy was our starting quarterback. I never saw Colt go to class. I'm sure he did, but he didn't get there how I got there. He ain't walk, and he definitely ain't take the bus because he couldn't take the bus. He was too famous to take the bus. He would have gotten harassed, et cetera, et cetera. I heard the stories of he's doing online classes this, online classes that. Like, I never saw him use the same transportation that little old me was using, because he couldn't afford to use that transportation, figuratively speaking, as he was the star quarterback. I pulled up to the facilities, in my little old school 4Runner, RAV4, whatever I was driving at the time. Other cats pulled up in the Dodge Camaros. I don't know what they was whipping in Colombia, but in my time, the Escalades was popping, the Dodge Camaros was popping, the Chargers was popping. I was like, how do y'all have those? And how do they have rims on them? Like, some cats just had certain luxuries that me, the young buck, did not have. There's already inequality in the locker room. I'm living on the dorms. These other dudes are living in nice, fancy townhouses. But how? So, what Nick Saban is worried about, he doesn't need to worry about just now. Yes, the star quarterback might make $1 million. Maybe 5 players in college football will make that kind of money. But for the most part, the hierarchy that already exists isn't going to be any different just yet. There may come a day when Cass is pulling in $5 to $10 million when you see a Reggie Bush, Vince Young, Cam Newton type of cat. But for now, premature.
Premature? I don't know if it's premature. It's certainly valid. It could be disingenuous a little bit. They've been seeing you, Nick Saban, nearly making $10 million a year in that same locker room, and ain't nobody had no problems with that. So they've gotten a little dose of inequality already. And they're big boys. And when you go to college, it's to prepare you for the real world. Well, welcome to the real world. Where no matter where you go, there you are, and it's not level and it's not equal. There's no such thing as equality, so it's hopeful that these kids are going to start to understand that lesson right now. Now, I know some people are sitting there, what do you mean there's no such thing as equality? It's a logical fallacy. Let me tell you why. Because if there is equality, let's say there's equal opportunity, right? But with that equal opportunity, it won't lead to equal production. Guess what's going to happen when you have uneven production? You're not going to give those people who are not producing the same amount of opportunities. Therefore, the vicious cycle starts and continues. There's no equality. These guys know that. 5 stars walk on day 1, feeling a little different than 4 stars, feeling a little different than 3 stars, right? Feeling a little different than a walk-on, right? So don't act like we ain't getting it. We just now seeing it in a different form and fashion. So now you look at a situation where these kids are going to advance in the ranks as Alabama football players, and let's say some of them make it to the NFL, as we know they will. Now, when you get to the NFL, here's the kicker. It's not just the fact that one of your teammates is making more money than you. Hey, he's a veteran. He's an all-pro. He's a beast. He deserves that. It's when you have to now take orders from someone more powerful than you that doesn't make as much as you. That's the mind. Wait a minute, special teams assistant coordinator homeboy that's making whatever you're making. I'm making more than you, and you barking at me like I'm the tree? Oh, my God. And that's when you got to understand the dynamics at play. But just, hey, you make more bread than me. I can't spend your bread because I didn't make your bread. That really doesn't concern me with these kids. What concerns me is that the kids don't get anything out of this, and they were fighting for something else, which I'll tell you next week.
The other thing, Sal, did y'all have Pell Grants at Columbia?
Nah, because we didn't have scholarships. Bang.
Okay. At Texas, you have Pell Grant. You get a scholarship check. When I was there, scholarship check, $1,000. Maybe you got it every 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, something like that. But some cats got Pell Grant.
Yeah, right.
I didn't get Pell Grant. I didn't know what it was. But Pell Grant, I'm now seeing if your family's income was between $30,000 to $60,000, you would qualify for Pell Grant, roughly an extra $6,500 check. If your family made over $60,000, harder to qualify.
Oh, good for y'all then.
But I would walk around, bro, with cats who got the Pell Grant checks, had the newest J's, had the newest Gucci wallets, the newest Gucci wristlets. I'm like, wait a second, bro. How you get a scholarship check and another check, and now you got all this? And I just got the scholarship check. I wasn't tripping. You know, I knew it had something to do with familial income and this, that, and the third. But how it played out in college, because Sonny and Christy Acho were not throwing no money to your boy at the time. They just didn't need to. So as it played out in college, cats on my team had more things personally than I had. Not talking family, but just than what I had.
Yeah, yeah.
There was already inequality.
Looking apart.
You walking around in True Religions, I'm walking around in Sean John's. You know, okay? Like,
Oh, wait a minute. Sean John wonder high? Oh, damn, Puffy fell off?
Yeah, he did.
Take that.
A couple times.
Take that.
So, like, still, as I look at it, man, the only way there's truly inequality is if the offensive linemen ever start to resent the quarterback for this reason. And this is why you so often see quarterbacks in the NFL buy their offensive linemen gifts. They might buy them tractors, et cetera. Because the quarterback knows who's really contributing to the success of the quarterback.
Preach.
Dak Prescott makes $160 million in 4 years. He'll make $75 million this year. But Dak realizes without Tyron Smith, without La'el Collins, without Zach Martin, he ain't really all that. So he's like, I have to keep them hogs, he will call them, fed. In college, though, do the athletes have the bandwidth, the mental wherewithal to realize, wait a second, man, without my offensive lineman, I'm nobody. Offensive lineman ain't making a penny. I'm making millions. Eventually, they might throw a lookout block.
Great point.
Look out! And that's it.
That is a great point. And to your point of maybe premature, we're premature to that conversation, but that will be a reality if you start to see the disparity between the skilled players making that money, especially the quarterbacks, and then you seeing these linemen and the guys in the trenches who really are doing the warfare, not getting anything out of it. I'm going to use Nick Saban's actions and words against him to prove why these players were fighting for something they haven't received and won't receive. I keep talking about how these players, everyone's loving the NIL deals. Yeah, it's crumbs on the table compared to what the fight was for. The fight was for compensation. They don't have a base salary compensation. There's no minimum wage now for these players. So now we don't protect these players as they were fighting for. The fight was for compensation. This has now been detoured into an NIL conversation. Name, image, and likeness. Here's the synonym of that. Go get it your damn self. If you're somebody, you're going to get something. If you're nobody, who's to say you're nobody? Go get it your damn self. You only gonna eat what you kill. Here's the problem without compensation, without base salary for these players. Nick Saban just told you. Outside our quarterback, ain't nobody getting jacked. This is Alabama, y'all. This is the top dog. The top dog just admitted, nobody caught it, that he basically like, this NIL stuff so far, ain't nothing happening. But guys ain't tripping because why? Guys ain't fighting over nothing because there's nothing on the table. I always said this was going to be a crumbs on the table detour to the fight for real compensation. And everybody's like, nah, they're going to get it. And then you hear this one, you hear this one, you hear this one. It's almost how they play the hood sometimes. They just go pick this guy, and then highlight that story and act like that's the entire story. And I'm like, no, there's so much more good and bad that y'all forgetting about because we are focused narrowly on this detour. These players are in for it. If Alabama can't hit the ground running, imagine when you get down to the lower tier schools, what year is it going to be for those guys to finally get proper compensation? So far by the statistics, seems like never. Coming up, James Harden thinks his Nets cannot be beat when they're at full strength.